it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Cine Critique. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new horror movie that's due out this Friday, Gretel and Hansel. So Gretel and Hansel is yet another twist in the Brothers Grimm classic fairy tale and follows a young girl and her little brother as they stumble upon an evil witch in the woods. Gretel and Hansel is the latest iteration of Hansel and Gretel, with Disney being responsible for most of those movies. There was a Hansel and Gretel movie with Jeremy Renner that came out a few years ago. That was pretty bad. And of course, who can forget the classic Hansel and Gretel movie, Hansel and Gretel Get Baked. Can't leave that classic out. There are a few differences between Gretel and Hansel and all the other Hansel and Gretel movies that have come out until now. For one, this movie is easily the most horror-centric movie based on Hansel and Gretel that's come out so far. All the other Hansel and Gretel movies, they're either Disney animated or they're very, very lighthearted movies like the one with Jeremy Renner. But this one is as close to a straight-up horror movie as you can possibly get. The other big difference in this movie is that there's a pretty big age gap between the two main characters. In all the other Hansel and Gretel movies, and even in the classic story, Hansel and Gretel are pretty much the same age. In this movie, Gretel is at least a teenager, while Hansel's about like 8 years old, and this age difference actually does play a big part of the overall story. Gretel kind of just wants to be independent and free and explore and do whatever the hell she wants to like a normal teenager, but she's stuck watching after her little brother, who she's forced to take with her wherever she goes. This is definitely Gretel's movie, with her character arc being the main focus and central theme of the film. The acting here, I gotta say, is really solid. Gretel's played by Sophia Lillis. You might know her from It Chapter 2. And Hansel's played by this kid named Sammy Leakey. And both of these actors do a good job of keeping the audience engaged. They really play well off each other, especially during the scenes where they're wandering the woods. You really do care about what happens to these characters. I mean, I, for one, was definitely invested in the outcome. I know everyone in the theater I was in was invested in the outcome. And when it comes to acting, that's what I look at the most. Did the actors make me care about the character? And in this movie, I did. With that said though, the one who really steals the show here is Alice Krige. She plays the evil witch Hulda. Everything is creepy as hell about Hulda. From the way she talks, to the way she sounds, to the way she looks. I mean, she looks like she could either be 60 or 600. She's creepy as shit, and because of her performance in this movie works. I really like how nothing in this movie is what it appears to be. The motives and morals of these characters are constantly questioned, especially Gretel. You're left wondering whether the evil witch is actually evil or if she's just misunderstood. This movie does a really good job keeping you on your toes on what's going to happen next, which is refreshing considering the source material. The film is directed by Osgood Perkins, who is most known for writing and directing the criminally underrated horror movie The Black Coat's Daughter, starring Emma Roberts. He also wrote and directed another little-known horror movie called I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. You can catch that on Netflix, and it's a movie I definitely recommend to any horror fan. I really like the job he did here with this movie. The atmosphere, the cinematography, the score, the symbolism. It's like he got a checklist of everything that should be in a good horror movie, and he made sure he included it in this one, and it works. The ending is also something that I consider refreshing, because we know how this story is supposed to play out, right? Yet there's a twist at the end of this movie I don't want to ruin that I was all in for and definitely made the movie stand out for me. I mean, the movie was better than it had any right to be, especially when you consider how bad January horror movies are, and they're typically pretty bad. And it's not like Hansel and Gretel ever excited anybody either. Hey man, do you want to see that new Hansel and Gretel movie? But with that said, you're going to want to see this. With great performances by the cast and a motivated direction by Osgood Perkins, Gretel and Hansel is a pleasant January surprise and one that should make horror movie fans real happy. I'm going to give this movie a B+. Very entertaining, very spooky, and a very good time. Alright guys, that's all I got for Gretel and Hansel. Let me know what you think about Gretel and Hansel in the comments below. And as always, if you like this review and want more of the latest, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I don't do this for my health, guys. And remember, movies may fade, but real legends never